Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to my kitchen. Give me one sec. Let me get some technical stuff dealt with here. It's a bit different going live from your kitchen. Okay, I got the chat up where I can see it better now. Okay, right on. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be in my kitchen today. So I've moved my studio from the basement to my kitchen. Not entirely to do the live stream, obviously moving the studio, but I needed to make some fish food for my shrimp and plecos anyway. So I thought, hey, why not share it? Why not share it? So who do I see in here so far? Anthony, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I'm sure you'll enjoy the replay. We're going to go through the entire process of making some food. And yeah, we'll go through some fun facts too. Hello, Chevy Fish. Welcome, welcome. Jason, hello, welcome. And Codyson, hello, welcome. Welcome, everybody. So I'm sure we'll get a few more people on here, but this is going to be a great stream to watch the replay as well, because I'm going to throw in quite a bit of information here. And you may, if you want to follow the recipe, you may want to go back through the replay anyways to make sure you can pause it and go through it at your pace, how you're wanting to do it. So as you can see, we have, we're in the kitchen. We're going to be using the stove. We're going to be using all kinds of things. So one thing a couple of things that I want to definitely talk about here is, one thing is, I am not a food analysis professional. So I'm going off the basis of what my fish and shrimp act like when I feed them this food. And I'm not talking about feeding them for a day or 2 days or a week or a month. I'm talking about the results that I've seen over the past 8 months to a year. I've actually been making fish food for some time now, but it has taken me a long time to get it down to where I'm happy with it. And I am very happy with this recipe. This recipe does a lot of things for my fish. One, it sinks. It sinks. This is very, very important for shrimp and ancestress plecos, is that it sinks. If it does not sink, the fish and shrimp will have a much more difficult time to access your food. You shouldn't see your plecos up at the top of the tank upside down trying to get a piece of food. That's not how they eat. They eat off the sides, the bottom, you know, near the bottom of the tank, something accessible. Another reason that I'm happy with this food is that I can reuse some resources that grow right in my fish room. So I'm going to get into that a bit, and the resource that we're going to use today, and also I can use resources out of my garden as well. But the resource we're going to use from the fish room today is duckweed, Lemma minor. And we're going to go through some facts about duckweed. Everybody thinks it's just a kind of a shit plant and it doesn't really do much. But you know what? This stuff is action-packed. This stuff is packed with nutrients for your fish. Many fish eat it just on its own, but the fish in question that I am specifically making this food for cannot eat it in the raw form, or it's at least very difficult for them. They might nibble at the roots and stuff, eat the biofilm off the roots and stuff, but as duckweed is, it's not very digestible for them. But if you have goldfish, koi, anything like that, tinfoil barbs are crazy about duckweed. They will just clear out whatever duckweed you have, and you will never have any to make some fish food. So I do acquire quite a bit in my tanks, and when I do my regular clean out, I like to make fish food out of it. So the other thing is, when I do go through this recipe, remember, this is just like, you can change this recipe, you can modify this recipe, you can make this recipe however you want to make it that works for your needs. If you want to add some fish proteins to it, add some fish proteins to it. You can add shrimp, you can add krill, you can add mussels, you can add fish fillets. You can add whole fish to it if you want to get all the gut nutrient and everything out of it. But I don't want all the fish and animal proteins in this food, because I'm going to get to my next point of why I really like this food for me. I can leave it out forever. So this stuff that I have right here in this bag was from my last batch, and my last batch was about, I don't know, 2 months ago. I have not put this in the freezer, anything. It's a little crumbly now, but it's still exactly what we're looking for. It's basically a dehydrated food that I haven't really cooked the crap out of. And it's retained all of its nutrients. So that's why I like to. If you add all the fish proteins to it and whatnot, and I do for other kinds of fish, you must freeze it. You must freeze it, or it will go bad and you'll have problems. One thing I'd like to add too, if you have any questions or comments about what we're going to do here, by all means, shoot them up on the chat, and I will get to them as soon as I can. Let's say this is good for vegetarian plecos, and not so good for hyping. You're trying to stump me, Chewy. Species. Sorry, I'm not Latin. Either am I. You know what? They can eat it, and I'll tell you why they can eat it. Because I'm not saying that I would use this food solely this food for any plecos, or shrimp or anything, because I have not done a guaranteed analysis on it, and I can't tell you if it is a full rounded food, a food that gives them all the vitamins and nutrients they need or not. So let's call this a food to work with other foods. I use it a lot. I use it very heavily, but that's me. And just in case I am missing something in the food that your fish need, I don't want you coming and blaming me saying you told me how to make an incomplete crap food. So, and I like to use this food, and I use it heavily, but it is definitely your choice. Now, I will tell you, Chewy, that I use this food with my hemiancestris, my L128s and my L106s. Quite enjoy this food. But like I said, I do also supplement them with other foods. In fact, they enjoy just eating raw zucchini. They clean zucchini out, but then I throw in some shrimp, some fish, some bug bites. They like eating Bug Pro, different pellets. I use a variety, but they really do enjoy this food as well. Yeah, so if you have these kinds of plecos, by all means, add some shrimp to the mix. But it's, like I said, you must freeze it. Okay, so as we've talked about, our main ingredient is going to be duckweed. I don't know if y'all could see that without me dumping it out. So if you could see in the duckweed, there's a lot of snails. There's a lot of snails in there. So there is some form of protein in there, because I don't take the snails out of it. I get the odd piece of water lettuce in there, whatever. It comes out and it goes into the mix. So this is one of our main ingredients. The food is not all duckweed. The food is just partial duckweed. But it's duckweed. It's very underappreciated. It's very underappreciated. And I'm going to tell you why right now. I just got something here that I can read to you. Selema minor duckweed has crude protein ranges from 26.3% to 45.5%. That's huge. That's a lot of protein. A lot of protein. the amino acid content of the plants is compared with soybean, cottonseed meals, and it exceeds that of groundnut meals. Pretty good. Methionine, it's a little bit shy in that. I don't even really know what that is. But yeah, it's got a lot of fiber too. It's got quite a bit of fiber. Not that fish need a lot of fiber, but with the extremely short intestinal tract of plecos, it can wreak havoc on them if you're not a vegetable-based food. And same with shrimp. They don't have very big intestinal tract either, and you want to keep a lot of the animal proteins out. If you can get the proteins through vegetable matter, that is by far the best way to do it. This article does go on to say as well that, sorry, right here, the nitrogen levels of the plant are those comparable to those in commercial fertilizers as well. So there is a lot of nitrogen in it. And it says the plant could be a good dietary supplement and nutrient source for humans, livestock, and fish. So there you have it. It's a fairly well-rounded plant for sure. Sorry, I'll just get caught up here with. Hello, Zen Ginger. Thanks for joining us. And you threw up. Yeah, so I have done a video on this before. If you want to check it out, there it is. We're going to do essentially the same thing this time as that, but we're going to do it live, and you're going to actually see like how the entire process has been done. Hello, Aquanut. Thank you for joining us. I'm doing very good, thank you. And it's gonna turn out good. Hopefully we won't mess it up. So let's get into our ingredients. We've wasted enough time chatting about here. Actually, sorry, before I get into our ingredients, I have a big shout out to do. I'm a new uncle again. We Nicole's sister had a baby girl on Friday, healthy little baby girl. So that's where Nicole is, and that's why I'm able to work in the kitchen here during the day, because there's nobody in the house at all. I never get nobody in the house at all. So it's usually too busy up here for that kind of stuff. But yeah, shout out to baby Haley. Okay. Chewy says the best thing for L46 is frozen shrimp with mussels or clams and mixed in a blender. Stay away from mammal fats. As many of you know, I do have a good friend that's huge in the fish nutrition. It's his profession. It's what he does. He actually works for Northfin Fish Foods. His name's Jeff Mountjoy. I've had him on the show before, so I don't mind dropping his name. And Jeff has talked. I've heard Jeff's talk many times, and the one thing Jeff says is if you can get plant matter and animal protein from an aquatic source, it is much more digestible for your fish. Bottom line, your fish can break down the enzymes and amino acids and everything much easier being an aquatic source. So yes, that is very true with anything. Now, some guys are going to argue with me and say, well, hey, all the biggest discus breeders, they use beef heart. Yeah, they do, and it works for them. So let them go. And I'm not against it totally. There is a lot of nutrients in beef heart, but I'm telling you that the fish will not get all that nutrient from the beef heart with it being a land mammal. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chevy. I will get to see her later this week. So anyways, let's get to the rest of our ingredients. Like I said, we have duckweed mixed with snails, a little bit of the tank water in there with it. We're going to need that water anyways because this is all going to be blended together. Our next ingredient is nothing more than a zucchini. I've taken a zucchini and I've diced it and I've also peeled it. So that's another one of our ingredients. Those are our two main ingredients. Next ingredient that I like to add is green seaweed, and they just come in these wafers. And I will add 2 wafers to this mix. If I can get them out, put a crack on them. Yep, it is come in these wafers. I bought these originally for feeding my tang in my saltwater tank, but don't you worry. Plecos and shrimp love it too. So we'll put a couple of them in the mix. Like I said, this is going to be pretty much your vegetarian delight. Now you can also mix other things in here. If you don't want to use zucchini, use spinach. If you don't want to use spinach, use sweet potato. If whatever works for you, green beans. If you don't want to, peas. Usually I add peas to it, but I do not have any peas. And I usually add spinach to it, but I don't have any spinach right now. So this is what it's going to be. Next major ingredient, and anybody who watches my stream knows that I'm crazy about this stuff, and I'm crazy about this stuff because I see the results of my fish. I use this on its own. I use it for feeding copepods. I use it to mix in food. I use it as the very first food for any baby ancestress that have been born, and that is spirulina powder. This is just an incredible power punch of nutrients for your fish. So per 2 level teaspoons, what you are getting in this is no fats, 4 grams of proteins, a little wee bit of sodium, potassium, calcium, and iron. There is a lot of iron in it. So those are your basic nutritional facts for it. There's no fibers, so to speak of. 1 gram of carbohydrates, but yes, it is protein packed, and it's got quite a bit of nutrients in it as well. The other piece of the pie we're going to add in, and this is mostly for the shrimp, but this is cuttlefish bone. We're going to add some cuttlefish bone to it. I don't know off the top of my head the exact nutritional values of it, but it is packed with calcium, and your shrimp will appreciate it for when they are shedding. So that's essentially what we have for ingredients. Now, I'll get to the chat before I go any further here. Yeah, spinach is great for most of the Labotropheus species. Any Mbuna at all. Spinach, peas, beans, any vegetable matter. If you're into Mbuna cichlids and you're under the false impression because of some of their aggression, a lot of people think that they eat fish and they eat other fish, and they will if it fits in their mouth, but the bulk of their nutrition should come from vegetable matter, algae to be specific. They graze on algae all day long. If you look at most Mbuna's mouths, a lot of them will have kind of a bottom. Mouth will almost be on the bottom. And the reason for this is because they're always down like this, scraping algae, working their way up the rocks. So yeah, this food would work for them, but it's not really. I have a better food for them of making your own food, but it is a frozen variety. I just made gel tortoise food Friday. put all their favorite foods with plenty of green fiber in it. Very good. I've made quite a few gel foods. This is not a gel food. The one we're doing today is a dehydrated food. But it's the gel foods I make, they are frozen, and yeah, you can add whatever you want. I'm trying to remember the name of the binder that I use. Guam is the binder I use instead of using gelatin. Reason being, guam is a vegetable-based, I guess gelatin is what it is, whereas actual gelatin is animal fat-based. So let me know, Dragon Lair, do you use guam or do you use gelatin, or do you have something different? Oh, agar. I'm sorry, Dragon Lair. Agar. That is actually what I was trying to. I got the wrong word. Clearly, agar. Totally correct. Thank you for correcting me. Yes, agar. It's expensive though. I do find agar very expensive. Okay, so the process is going to be quite simple. We are going to combine some ingredients in a minute, but first we have to boil some ingredients. So I hope my headphones can reach to the stove. If you can, good. Okay. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take zucchini in a pot, and we're going to take a bit of water. I don't like to use a lot of water because when you get to the final mix, when you get to where you're pasting it out over the cookie sheet so you can dry it out to dehydrate it. If you have too much water, it gets a little bit too runny and it gets too thin. I like to get it just a little bit thicker than that. So we'll be kind of careful how much water we use here. If I've made any mistake making this food, that is usually the mistake I make. I literally want just enough water to boil it and to be able to process it in the blender. Add just a bit more. So in total, I have a cup of water in here. Yeah, that's more than enough. All right. So I'm going to boil this here. You can see it behind me boiling away. I'm actually going to move this camera over to the stove in a minute because we're going to add other stuff to the boiling water as well. I don't want to like boil the zucchini. I want to blanch the zucchini basically. I just want to soften it up a bit. Reason for that is it processes better and it sinks. If you do not blanch zucchini, it will not sink. It'll make your whole thing float. Yeah, it has to be blanched to sink, or it just won't. I also want the duckweed blanched very slightly. Reason being is that there is snails in there, and I would like them cooked because I believe that helps preserve them in the mix a bit too. It doesn't make my mix go bad. So I want that blanched a bit, and yeah. So I'll throw the duckweed. Doesn't take nearly as long to blanch as the zucchini, so I will throw that in as the zucchini's pretty much finished. But we do have some other stuff to get together here for this project. The one thing we do have to get together is the cuttle bone. So I'll show you how I get the cuttle bone ready. If you're from a 1980s hair rock band, this will be easy for you. It would be kind of like dicing up Coke probably. But again, I don't totally measure it, but I just have the amount that I feel is good. And that's about it. That's about it. So I literally take it kind of like a garlic. You're going to Give it a little crush. Might have to cut it up a bit to get that. But I want this, I don't want it all in one spot of the mix. I want it all throughout the entire mix. So it has to be processed quite small. So I don't want any part of the mix to get an overload. Now the crush is good. That's just the edge of the bone. But this stuff is a great calcium additive. Something else some people put in their fish food when they're making their own homemade fish food is bird vitamins, liquid bird vitamins. I used to do this when I was huge into cichlids. I used to make a lot of my own food for my frontosas and different species of Mabuna I used to keep. I used to keep over 40 different varieties of African cichlids. So when I said I was pretty serious into it, and I was successful at breeding them all. And I pretty much did it with my own food. I didn't buy a whole lot of prepared food because I was very confident in my food when I was seeing my results. So I did put bird vitamins in back then, and it did help out quite a bit, I think. I don't know, because I never did it without bird vitamins. So one thing, when people try things and they're offering advice on things they've tried, sometimes it can be misleading. If somebody has tried something and they say, oh, it's great, it's absolutely the best I've ever seen. Well, did you try without it? If you hadn't tried without it, then how do you know it's the best you ever seen? And we are boiling. Give that just another minute. How do you know it's the best you've ever seen? In order to have a very non-biased opinion on something you're doing, and that is the best way to go about it. Keep your feelings or the amount of effort you've put into something or anything else out of the way, and just go with the facts. Go with the facts. Did this benefit my fish, or did this not benefit my fish? Try it without. Try an alternative. Try different things. If you just try one thing and you see some success, how do you know by trying something else or improving on that you're not going to see even more success? So I guess that's essentially what I'm getting at with that. Oh, you like that, Zen, do you? Figured a few people would get it. All right, so we're almost boiled here, almost to where I like it anyways. Just a little bit more. Things you're going to need to do this. It's a blender. You're going to need a blender. You're going to need a blender, these materials, a pot, and a stove. That's pretty simple. Dragon Lair says, repetitive calcium is not expensive and comes in a fine powder. 1/4 teaspoon to about a half gallon works. It is pure calcium. Good to know. Good to know. Also here, a 25-gram pack of agar at the Asian supermarket. Oh, wow. It's way cheaper where you're from, man. I can only get it at, like, I don't have any Asian supermarkets around me. And I can only get it at, like, a health food store. It's crazy expensive. Crazy, crazy expensive. But worth it. I'd rather use it. Okay. So let's try something here. All right. So everybody can see we're boiling. So that's it. That's all you need. All you need at all. And also we're going to take, go this way. We're going to take our duckweed and we're going to mix that into duckweed, snails, bit of tank water. Now the good thing is that we are boiling this stuff, but we're actually putting the water right in with the processing. So it's not like we're losing nutrients that got dissipated into the water through the process. We're not losing that at all. So we'll just give that a minute. Sorry, that was probably extremely loud. And that's almost done. Almost there. And then, yeah, we can get to actually putting it together. It's real simple, real easy, guys. The hardest part about this is honestly filming it. Okay, I'm happy with that. That's enough boiling for me. Okay, so here we are. All right, so we have this. We have our calcium or cuttlefish bone. We'll just put that right in here. Let it dissolve. Just like so. All right, so we got that. Now let's throw our seaweed in and just kind of rip it up. It's all going to get blended anyways, but we'll just help the process out a little bit here. Sounds nice and fresh. Should shut the stove off too. Be a good idea. Let's give me a spoon. Got mixed in. The extremely hot water from it being boiled will help everything process too. Oh yeah, it's all good. Okay, so what else do we need? We need spirulina powder. I'm going to have to get a clean spoon. I'm going to put in 2 giant tablespoons of it. He couldn't talk to you, Chewy, because he's watching my live stream. Okay, 2 giant tablespoons, like so. And this stuff gets everywhere. 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 It'll make this food a very, very dark green. Extremely dark green. Okay, I'll give that a bit of a stir. It seems like we have lots of water for processing. And this is a very small batch. I wasn't doing a giant batch this time. But if you have a couple of batches of baby Plecos, baby Ancestris, whatever you have, this will last you quite a while. Quite a while, especially if you're feeding it with other foods as well. I feed a lot of fresh zucchini, and this time of year, I'm actually starting to get it in my garden. So, yeah, I give them fresh zucchini. This is great when you don't have fresh zucchini, and this obviously offers a lot more nutrients than just zucchini. All right. 1 sec, people. Gotta get my blender a little closer. Okay. just like so. Who do we got? Oh, hey Chubbs. Yeah, we're making Pleco and shrimp food. Welcome to the stream. Yes, we have Nicole's Ninja. A little story about this. I don't think Nicole's used it since I did my first batch of fish food at it. She refuses to actually use it now. Even though nothing went in the process that wasn't human grade, she refuses to use it since I made it for fish food. She thinks it's gross. So I guess I got a Ninja now. All right, so like I said, you're going to need a blender. It doesn't have to be a Ninja. It can be whatever the heck you got for a blender. It is really hard to clean out after. To get this out is quite a bit of work. But yeah, works good. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, so we literally put the slop in there. And it might have a bit too much water. We'll see by the time it's all blended in there nice. Like I said, the only reason that I like to have as little water in the mixture as possible is after we blend this, we're going to put it on this tinfoil wrapped cookie sheet, and it's going to spread over the whole thing when we bake it. And if it spreads out too thin, I find it's too thin. I like the crisps that it produces to come off a little bit thicker, and the way to do that is less water so it doesn't run out. Okay, I'm actually going to, if I can figure out how to get this on. Oh yeah, you gotta go. I'm gonna mute it because this is gonna be super ass loud. So I'll mute it. What I'm doing is I'm literally just pulsing it, getting it to a liquid form, no big chunks, everything mixed up good. All right. You're welcome. I'm saving you from that. Although it's really not, I didn't find it that loud, but I have headphones on too, so. All right, so it is absolutely everywhere. I don't want to miss out on any of this, but looks pretty good to this cat. There's basically the consistency you're going to get out of it. So yeah, we're ready for next up. And one thing is this, sorry about that, this green crap gets everywhere. It's such a rich food. Yeah, they are. But yeah, like you said, it's a pretty kick-ass blender. So I personally, if I was going to do it again, I would probably just get like a $20 blender and not piss the family off by stealing their blender for making fish food. Just saying. That would be the nice thing to do at this point, but it's too late now, so I'm just going to keep using Ninja. All right, so here is our cookie sheet, and it's going to be as simple as pouring that onto the cookie sheet, but I want to show you something else. Sometimes if you get the formula very thin, it can be sometimes difficult to separate it from the tinfoil. It'll want to stick to the tinfoil a little bit sometimes. I have a solution for that, and that is get, like, I call it barbecue tinfoil, but like the heavy duty tinfoil, the thick stuff, not the regular tinfoil. Get the heavy stuff, and it'll peel off much easier. Just a little tip. Just a little tip. Okay, so let's pour her out and see what she looks like. Well, it looks pretty good. It's not too thin. Let's get all we can here. Waste not, want not. One thing I thought about adding to it today, just something not different, but just an addition, is I do have zucchinis growing outside, zucchini plants and zucchinis growing, and I have a lot of zucchini flowers. And I actually thought about adding zucchini flowers. They have just a bit different nutrients than zucchini. Maybe add some color to it. But that's what you're after right there, people. And now this is going to spread out on its own more too, right? So I'm going to leave it right at that, not overwork it. Get some water on this stuff where it gets dry, or else I'll have a hard time cleaning it. Dragon Lair says that's the advantage of being single. He can use his ninja for whatever the hell he wants to, and nobody gets upset. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Plecos need a lot of beta carotene, but I just thought, hey, adding a little bit more to it, it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. So, yeah. So that's what we have here. That's next step. And like I said, it's still liquidy. It's going to spread on its own here. I'm just going to help it a bit here. Get it spread the way I want it spread, not the way it wants to spread. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, get myself untangled here. So the stove, what I do is, if you have a dehydrator, that's the shit. If you have a dehydrator, that's what you want to do with this. I'm essentially just, I'm substituting an oven for a dehydrator. But I just set mine to bake, and I put it to almost the lowest setting it will go. I believe mine goes down to 175, 170. I put it up to 185. That's it. 185. We don't need to preheat because this is going to take forever as it is. And slap her in the oven. So, that's it. This process will take, I don't know, it's 2:45, probably 10 o'clock tonight, probably my bedtime tonight before it's ready. When it's, hey, thanks for stopping by, Chevy Fish. Appreciate it. Drive safe. So yeah, it takes depending on your oven, obviously, and what temperature you do it. I like to do it on the lowest because I don't really want to cook it. I just want to dehydrate it. You'll find it'll get all crinkly and crackly, and you will know when it's dry. And if you're unsure, touch the middle. If the middle is still got moisture, you need to leave it in a bit longer. This is, to me, the method of obviously preserving it. If you know anything about bushcraft or involved with bushcraft at all, if you're out in the bush and you need to preserve meat, drying it, making it dry. Bacteria can't, I shouldn't say can't, bacteria does not like to go onto dry stuff as much as stuff that has moisture in it. So drying it is your very best prevention there. If you use it sparingly and you don't use it very often, or if you're just a little bit cautious about stuff going bad, put it in the freezer. Put it in the freezer and it won't hurt it. And quite frankly, I have a little fridge right down in my fish room now, so I'll just leave it in the fridge. I go through it fast enough generally that I can just put it in the fridge and it's gone. It sinks, like I said, these little wafers, I don't know, shrimp love them. You can break it up easy. Honestly, for 100 shrimp, this is how much I would put in. This stuff is so packed with nutrients. I don't know if anybody can see that, but that's how much I would put in for 100 shrimp to feed them. It's got so much in it, And the other part of fish food that people don't talk about is if fish food don't want to eat it, they don't like it, they won't eat it. So you got to make it so that they want to eat it too. You can make all the fish food in the world, but if your fish don't want to eat it, good luck, Chuck. Like it's not going to happen. You're welcome, Jason. And you're right, you shouldn't be lazy, but I know you're a hard-working fellow, and I know, like, Jason was up half the night working on the video. He just did redoing the video with Jim, and I have to say, I'm throwing you a shout out here, Jason. Redfish, Bluefish, I'm talking about. He did a freaking amazing job on it. When you see the original yesterday, how much it didn't go the way everybody wanted it to go, to what he produced today that we saw, that's fantastic video. Great job, bud. Kudos. Yeah, Griffin. Hello, Griffin. And hello, HC Aqua. Hello. You guys all missed it. Yeah, we've already cooked it. It's in the oven now. But yeah, the main ingredient for everybody who's stepping in was duckweed and zucchini. I'll just go through them all with you quick again. What you're gonna need: you're gonna need zucchini. You're gonna need duckweed. I don't have any here to show you because I just used it all. Here's an empty container of duckweed. And spirulina powder. And I put in some green seaweed and some cuttlefish bone. So those were literally all the ingredients that went into it today. And like I said, we're just got her cooking now. It all got blended up. And there it is, cooking away in the oven. Now, when I say cooking, I'm using that term very loosely. We are not attempting to cook here. We're attempting to dehydrate. So I don't actually want to cook it. I just want it dehydrated. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming in. I hope you got something from it. If you have any more questions, by all means, shoot, give them. I might have the answers. I might not have the answers, but I'll do my very best. We'll wrap her up in about 10 minutes or so. What are you still doing here, Chevy? I thought you already left. Yeah, so the guppies do like it, but the guppies, I don't know. I have ancestors in with the guppies, and frankly, they don't get a chance. The Plecos ancestors go after it so fast that they don't get a chance to get on it, and they peck away at it. Same with when I put zucchini in a tank that has ancestors and guppies in it. The guppies peck away at it. Guppies would much rather go after brine shrimp or pellets or flake food, though, to be totally honest with you. Have you ever tried one of those food dehydrators that are low heat? They sell them at Walmart. No, I have not. But yes, I would like to get one. I think that's something I should get. That would make this process better. It would definitely be a huge improvement on this process. But this is what I have, so this is what I use, and so far it's been working just fine. I'm not taking anything away from it. Again, I haven't done an analysis on it either, right, Jason? So it's I may be taking some nutrients away from them by using the oven, but so far it's working. But yes, no, that would be ideal. Dehydrator would be ideal. Oven if you don't have a dehydrator. Yeah, they definitely would. They definitely would. Used all my duckweed I had for the tortoise food fried. I have to wait a week or so before I can make Pleco food. See, that's it right there, right? Like you have a never-ending supply of about half the volume of your ingredients. Half the volume of your ingredients you can take right from your fish tank. So it's a win-win. A lot of people are quite often looking for a way to expel their duckweed or get rid of their duckweed. Well, here you go. If you don't have fish that will just eat it in the raw form, then at least this way you can get some value out of it for your fish that need it processed. Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, that's what they're made for. So, like I said, I use an oven because I don't have one of them. But most definitely, dehydrator would be the way to go. Well, compare the size, but guppies need herb in their diet, unlike L46. But I can tell you, Chewy, that they don't really like this food. Guppies don't really like it. My guppies don't really like it. So, it wouldn't be my go-to food for them. That is for sure. HC Aqua. Hello, Aqua Balls. Welcome. I only use my dehydrator for beef jerky. What would you use to hold the fish food? What would you use to hold the fish food avoid it from falling through? I'm not sure where. I guess you have racks. Yeah, see, a dehydrator would still work, but I'm sure the circulation would be messed up a little bit. I just put it on a cookie sheet, so I don't know how else you would be able to do it in the dehydrator. Yeah, they definitely will. They will go at raw spinach. And like I said, my guppies pick away at raw zucchini that I put in the tank. But I can honestly tell you, Chewy, I'm just giving. I would love it if every fish loved this food, but I can tell you every fish doesn't. And I can tell you, my guppies, they'll pass on it. They'll pass on it and go to something else. They might pick away at it a little bit. Maybe I feed them too damn good, and they're just spoiled. I'm not sure. Yeah, we were just talking about that aqua balls. Jason did a fantastic job of reproducing. doing a reproduction of that, and the actual host and cameraman did a fantastic job as well, reproducing that. It was very good, and I look forward to the next one. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of comments up here. I don't know where we're going, but anyways, guys, if there is no more questions, then I'll get my studio out of my kitchen so we can have our house back. But yeah, I thought this would be a cool thing. If you are into making your own fish food, and like I said, and for people who have just joined us late as well, you don't have to go with exact what I would take from this. If you're not solely into plecos and shrimp, and you're not just wanting to make it for plecos and shrimp, take the process away from this. Use the process. The process is the same, but you can change the ingredients. The hardest part for me in coming up with it was coming up with the process. I have always known what I want to put into fish food, but I've never been bang on with getting the process down so that it turns out well. And I think I've gotten that. This does turn out extremely well the way I want it. Again, biggest things about it is it sinks, it's very nutritious, and the fish like it. Those are the biggest pluses of it. The other thing is seasonal vegetables and whatnot. Can you get this kind of stuff? Can you get the raw materials to make it? And yes, it's very accessible. If you have fish that are more require more fish fats and fish proteins, then add a fillet of tilapia, add some shrimp, add some mussels, add some krill, add whatever you want to put in to make it the food that you want it. Just remember, if you add these fish proteins, you must freeze it. If not, it'll go bad. So the way I've just showed you, I'm not going to guarantee this. It's usually at your own risk. But I've left this bag of food out for over a month, and it's still good. It doesn't smell, well, it doesn't smell any worse than it did before. No, just it smells like flake fish food. That's what it smells like. So that's essentially what we've made is a very green flake fish food. Now, the reason that I do this is that I don't know if any of you guys have gone out and looked at how much algae wafers cost. And any fish food that's got high quality ingredients in it is super, super expensive. Literally, I made this batch of food, minor. I owned most of the stuff here already. I grew in my garden, I grew in my fish tank, and a piece of cuttlefish bone, like that's lasted me over a year. It's what, $2? This Spirulina powder was expensive at $32 at a health food store, but you know what? Again, lasted me a year. I could literally say we've minus electricity and gas for the stove, we've made this fish food for like $1, and it's going to last a long time. To get that same amount of fish food in a wafer or pellet or flake, it's going to cost you upwards of $20 and maybe more. So that's a good benefit of doing this, as well as saving some money. My dehydrator came with fine screen inserts, but you can still use aluminum foil in it. Just make the trays that don't block the airflow. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I'd make smaller ones, possibly with gaps, so the air can go through. That would work good. Yeah, I'm gonna work on it, man. I'm gonna work on it. Our government's pretty tied up right now. Our government's pretty much tied up with keeping you guys out. Is what our government's tied up, and I'm sorry, but they have my full support till till the United States gets their shit together with this sickness, you guys can just stay in the States, and we'll get together after. Yeah, it would. We can't even cross the border right now. Not supposed to, anyways. So, what is a low heat cooking method? I saw one of the fish foods saying that. I am guessing it would be a dehydrator. I'm not sure. That's exactly what we're doing here. I have it in the oven, and but I have it at like 185 degrees. It's not. I'm not blasting it. I'm just trying to get the moisture out of it. Yeah, Jason's got a few Canuck friends. We still love you, Yankees, but you can just stay. You can just stay where you are for now. Yeah, we'll have to have a chat with Chewy about that. All right. Temps below 200 degrees doesn't cook as much as a dehydration. Good to know. That's what I was hoping for anyways. Okay, guys, we're at our 1 hour. I think we've done a good job today. So if you didn't catch the beginning and you need to get caught up on how we went through the process, and like I said, the process is the most important part of this. The ingredients are secondary. Yeah, start her over, check it out. That way you can pause it and you can keep up with the recipe. But from us to you, happy fish keeping. And until next time, take care, everybody. Please hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Have a great day.